everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into the My WHIM Life Show. I am Wendy Alexander, and I am thrilled to have one of my sweetest friends with us today, Sherri Smith. She and I met through various networking channels, a lot of different joint ventures that we have collaborated in together, and she is just one of the most generous, giving, loving humans that I have ever been around. Light just follows her everywhere she goes. So I definitely wanted to share her with you. So Sherri, tell us a little bit more about you.
Oh, good morning. What a sweet introduction that is. I feel the same way about you. So, yes. So, yes, we met through several different ventures. I am an entrepreneur with a few different small businesses. I do have a life coaching business, and I'm a certified recovery coach. So I do a lot of work in the recovery community, which is a passion of mine. I also do a lot of work with suicide prevention. I lost my son to suicide about 18 months ago, and kind of derailed me a little bit. And when I was able to get back on track, I knew that was something I wanted to participate in fully, as well as be more of an advocate for the homeless community, because that was my son's passion. So actually, I go in lots of different directions.
Yeah.
My current role in our community is actually I work with AmeriCorps, and have just recently started this position as a volunteer for the federal government for our state as a whole, in bringing awareness and education throughout our state of all the resources available to people, and uniting our communities together statewide for education and awareness in the recovery role.
Yeah, that's so fantastic. You know, when I said that you had the biggest giving heart, I definitely wasn't lying. And just hearing about some of the things that you are actively involved in, I'm sure everyone else can feel that too.
Thank you. Yes,
So,
I do love being able to step out into our community and volunteer time, resources, energy, and use my own life experiences, both good and not so good, hopefully to bring positivity and hope to others that find themselves in those situations as well.
yeah, absolutely. You know, I think all of us in life have our struggles. Some of us, you know, some people just never get out of that struggle. And then there's those that get out of that struggle and just kind of dig a hole and in order to protect themselves. And I think that's definitely one way to cope. And then there's other people that, like you, that just take it and turn it on its head and make absolute roses out of what was your deepest despair.
Yeah, that's a great way to put that.
I really, if you don't mind, if you're not uncomfortable, I would love for you to tell us a little bit more about your sobriety journey.
Oh, I always love to talk about my sobriety journey. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I will be coming up on 10 years of sobriety, a little bit longer, but I don't count some of that time. But anyway, 10 years plus in sobriety. And I kind of, I was in a really dark space due to losing someone extremely close to me in my life. And I didn't know how to deal with grief. And so in that process, I turned to alcohol as a coping mechanism and was in that dark space for about 4 years. And since then, have been able to really dive deep into why we turn to those types of things instead of reaching out for help. So today in my life, I get to mentor and lead other people through those journeys. I'm a leader with a program called Celebrate Recovery, where we take gender specific. So I specifically work with women and take them on a year-long journey of self-discovery, and not just in, say, alcohol or drugs, substance use disorders, but a wide variety of other things, and how we can change our coping mechanisms to be positive things, and by volunteering and getting engaged in our community and those types of things. That was not easy for me. I grew up in a very dysfunctional home where we were taught not to reach out and ask for help. So overcoming those barriers and changing my belief systems that it's okay to reach out. It's okay to overcome shame. It's okay to talk about our guilt. It's, all those things that keep us in the darkness. And today, my life is an open book. Anything that someone wants to talk about or ask me about, say, for instance, in my darkness, I could not get sober. I would keep trying, but I wouldn't put 100% into it.
Yeah.
And I ended up going to jail. And through that experience, I'm totally grateful for that experience today, because it helps me be able to work with another range of individuals and have compassion and empathy and know where they're coming from.
Yeah.
And through that experience, I got to see where my downfalls were, and be able to admit all the things that hindered me, and all the things that kept me returning to old lifestyles, old belief systems, and gain the experience and knowledge of how to let go of those things and move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's so fascinating, and one of the reasons that I really wanted to chat with you and share your story with everyone is because that alone, getting sober alone, is a struggle. Getting sober through and also being incarcerated is a whole nother leg of the journey. And then on top of that, you have to be tested continually along the way. And I'm sure there have been a lot of those tests, none of which could possibly compare to the suicide of your son just less than 2 years ago. How did you cope with that and stay on your sober journey?
Well, I would say that through the support system that I developed along the way, that willingness to reach out and absolutely invite other people into your life without barriers or walls, those people that you could have ultimate trust in, knowing that they're going to support you no matter what, right? Because part of the recovery journey is letting down those walls. We lose trust in people, where we deal with judgment and shame and guilt and all the things that go along with that, because we made some bad choices, and we're consistently judged for that. So the ability to trust people is huge. So I'm very fortunate in networking and finding this tribe of specifically women that I knew would have my back no matter what, and so just being able to reach out and say, this is what's happening, and to be able to talk about my son's struggles as
Sure.
well. My son lived with me, and he suffered from a variety of issues, but some mental health issues for sure. And the ability to talk about that and talk openly with my tribe on what I was going through and what my struggles were, and how can I help, and how am I being codependent, and everything along those lines. Without those people in my life, and without letting down my walls and building those relationships, I don't know that I would have made it through that. Prior to my son passing away, I also had a niece pass away a year and a half before. I had lost my papa. I mean, a variety of things. I distinctly remember the day that we had to make the decision to end life support for my papa. And I had my whole family at my house, and my papa was an alcoholic his whole lifetime. And I just knew that everyone would be having a beer for him, because in a way to honor him. And I thought, will today be the day that I drink? But it wasn't. I made it through that because I knew that no matter what, my papa was proud of me for the journey that I was on. And that would have wiped away everything that I had worked so hard for. And so that in itself helped me keep moving forward. And I was like a sponsor for my niece in her journey. And it was absolutely soul crushing to get that phone call that she had not made it. And again, I knew that if I didn't stay strong, how would that look to the rest of my family, right? That and I'm proud, absolutely proud of myself for being able to stand up and say, I'm stronger than this. And to be honored enough for my family to reach out and say, we would love for you to do her eulogy, because your journey, has been this. And so, and so then when I lost my son, I knew no matter what, he was extremely proud of me, and I would never dishonor him in a way that would wipe all that out. As difficult as it was. And that is not saying that, I think I was a week on the couch, and my other son finally saying, oh my gosh, you have to get up and take a shower. You have to do this, you have to do that. But at no point did I say, I think I'm going to pick up a drink because, I deserve it, or I'm going to justify it. So it has been a long, hard journey. And I like to say the rent is due every day. I have to make an impact today, and on not just myself, but if I can impact one other person by sharing part of my story, then I've done a good job today.
Yeah, I love that. The vulnerability and the courage it takes to open those doors, to be willing to trust, and be willing to ask for help when it's needed, is so difficult. And yes. I am just thoroughly impressed.
Oh, thanks. It is difficult. Today, I show up for people in the ER. I show up for families that have lost someone to addiction or to suicide or whatever that is. And it sometimes that can be traumatic for me, but on the other hand, I think it's also important to show up and hold someone else's hand and say, I don't know how you're feeling. I just know how I felt, and I'm here just to hold your hand. And all those things are important, regardless of what journey of recovery we're on, whether that's a substance use disorder, depression, anxiety, mental illness. There's so much stigma in our world today revolving around just life circumstances, right?
I agree.
And if we can impact people in any way to let go of labels and judgment and just love each other with kindness, oh man, what a different world we would have.
Oh, I absolutely 100% agree. 100%. So tell me, shifting gears, tell me a little bit more about your little businesses.
Oh, let's see. Well, my website's currently under construction. I do have a life coaching / recovery coaching business. And my goal in beginning that was to reach out and be able to help people in the stigmas, in the judgment, in the labels, and help them get rid of limiting beliefs that they have. So that actually is going quite well. And so I'm kind of proud of that. And I also have a gourmet dog biscuit business where I make organic homemade dog biscuits. Usually people with the pickiest dogs in the world love these treats. And my oldest son, so I have two boys, when my youngest son passed away, we developed this business as a way to honor him. He was a vet tech and loved animals. And so it was a way to honor him and keep moving forward with his love of animals.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it so much. And you know, I'm a dog lover because I only have 5 of my own.
I know.
So that definitely touches my heart. We definitely need to get some of those in my household for sure.
Yes, absolutely. I will make sure of it. I just recently moved, and so I developed all the recipes. My son did the website, and everything we do is natural and organic. And so just testing out equipment and my new space. So it'll be up and in packages again soon.
Awesome. That is awesome. Awesome. We'll make sure to include all the details of where other people can find those as well.
Yes.
So obviously, regardless of whether you're talking about in your business or staying on track with your sobriety, there are certain habits that you have to put into place to make sure that you stay on a successful track. What are some of those for you?
Oh, yes, some of my habits. For sure, self-care, taking time for myself, taking time for that inner reflection, as well as paying attention to outside things coming in. I am a firm believer of what we feed our mind is definitely how we project ourselves in the world. So I'm very cautious about what I feed my mind, especially in our world today. I do try to get up at the same time every day. And I do a gratitude list. I meditate. And I definitely try to stay connected with the community. And when I get up in the morning, I want to think of at least one way that I can connect with my community and how I can help in my community. So volunteering is a huge way for me to stay connected, and knowing that I I alone can make a difference, even if it's just one person at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that that faith is really important to you, but
Yes.
what are, aside from that, what are some of the non-negotiables in your life that you have put into place to make sure that you stay whole?
Ooh, that's such a good question. Non-negotiables for me would be, I think my top one is pride over purpose. Like, I don't ever want to be in a situation where I'm putting pride and ego over the well-being of myself or someone else.
Yeah.
And in that same token, I try to pay attention to not engage with people who practice that.
Yeah.
So staying away from toxicity is highly important for me. So that definitely is a non-negotiable. And going back to labels and judgment, right? Those are non-negotiables for me. If I'm in any kind of group, or I meet someone, or I'm engaging with someone, and though their conversation is around judgment and labels of others, I try to stay away from that as well. Going back to what we feed our mind and who we engage with. So I just try to do my best at engaging with people who are positive, that are like-minded, that are making a difference in the community, that give more than they take. I think all those are huge things. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. If you were going to give one piece of advice to an entrepreneur or startup, what would that be?
Probably to not let fear stop them from pursuing their passion, and have people in their corner, have at least 3 people in their corner that they have no walls, no barriers with, that can push them beyond their fears, that are always there to say, to tell you the things that answer the questions that you don't want to ask.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
Right? To answer and support you through those things, right?
For sure. For sure. All right.
I think most entrepreneurs, at least the ones that I know that are starting up, are always second guessing themselves. Is this going to work? Am I doing it right? Do I have background for a video? All the things. I think authenticity and just being your real true self, absolutely 100%. Absolutely 100%. Just be real.
Yeah, I know, and that's so hard for people because
Yes.
I think most people have an image of who they think they need to become, instead of just relaxing into who they actually are. You know,
Yes.
it's not about what you can do to create the image that you want it to be. It's about being real with exactly who you are and just letting that be enough. The people that are meant to be around you will be there.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. Well, we've talked a lot about all the ways that you give back. That's normally my very last question, but I think your whole life is surrounded by ways that you give back, whether that is in the form of a job or a business or your volunteer work. I think your whole life is about giving back to others, and I am so honored to be your friend.
Oh, that is so sweet. Like I said, I came from a very dysfunctional family where I grew up not having a lot, so I know what it's like not to have people in your corner, and and the dark times in my life that I went through, I didn't have anyone in my corner, and so that truly, when we talk about what are your or what drives you or all those types of questions, I think for me it's just being kind in general, right? And showing people, meeting people in the eye, like looking people in the eye, being genuine with people, whether that's the homeless person that's under the bridge, because in my book, that same person's heart and soul is just like mine, right? Just their circumstances tend to be different today.
Sure.
Or that's meeting a senator and shaking hands with him and meeting them in the eye, because guess what? No matter where we are, going to have ups and downs. Life is a roller coaster of things that go right and things that go wrong. And just being kind to people through all that, experiencing and being joyous with them in times of when it's great, and then being there to hold their hand when it's not so great. And then in turn, people are there for me too. And so it goes both ways.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I am just so blessed to have you as a small part of my life, and anyone else would be blessed to have you as part of theirs.
Oh, that's so sweet. Well, you do amazing things in our community too. So don't sell yourself.
Definitely not. Definitely not. I have enjoyed every minute of our little chat. We will make sure to share your contact information in the show notes so that everyone knows how you are looking for life or recovery coaching or those super awesome dog biscuits. So we'll definitely share you and all those details. And I will talk to you soon.
Thank you for having me on. I'm blessed with you in my life.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the My WHIM Life Show today. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a moment of the goodness.